So as we were saying, Jonah has a lot of experience in bed with two women.
Oh no, I'm putting my thumbs down. I was giving thumbs up.
I was just kidding.
We just had a full conversation about it.
kidding.
It's crazy for you to pull back on it now. Wow.
So, I'm Allie, this is Mack and Jonah. We are here for episode 3 of
Under the Covers.
And now I'm officially
Under the covers. And you'll get it next time, Jonah.
I'll wait for the next prompt. I'll get it.
So we've got Jonah here today. He likes books, he likes reading. So here we naturally have this beautiful book blanket. We are in his home state kind of Kansas, but we are also in Kansas City right now, which is not where he is from, which is not actually Kansas-ish. It is like Missouri. So we are in Kansas
Like
and
Missouri.
A lot of caveats here.
Look, there's never just one answer. I think I'm gonna go ahead and get this started quick and just, like I always say, rip it. What were your first impressions of everyone right on the plane, goggles off, on the tarmac? You're getting to know everyone. You're getting to see everyone for the first time. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, I was immediately like, oh my god, everyone looks like they're going to be so good at this game. I was like, just seeing the way everyone was talking and like holding themselves, I was like, oh my god, I'm like easily the person here who is like got the least going on inside his brain right now. Like I'm just kind of chilling, watching everyone. Definitely right off the bat, I was a little intimidated by everyone, and I said that on the bus. I was like, I'm intimidated by all of you because I don't know, there's just this demeanor everyone had of like, man, I am here, I am playing this game, and I was still kind of just in limbo internally. So that was an experience to say the least.
Yeah, that was a lot. And I don't think that I think you were exactly on the same level as everyone else. I'm hearing you talk about this, like, oh, everyone's so smart, but you are so smart. And we'll get to explaining that a little bit, because let me tell you, this man figured out the first episode like no one else on this bus. Yeah, so very smart guy right here. I think you're under talking yourself. I'm out of vocabulary. It's late. I don't even know what you would say.
Right out of vocabulary.
Whatever. So challenge is over. We're on the bus. It's Ep 1. It's a couple days in. Who do you think is the biggest threat on the bus at
I
this
thought
point?
it was you for sure.
Thank
I thought
you.
for sure it was Mac. Like, I right from the rip, I mean, not only like making that play early on, like having the idea to team up with Allie, I was like, oh my god, I never would have even. I was not there yet. Like, I was not thinking about the game like that at all. And then you just killed it. Like, I did so bad in the well game that we played, and then you still won somehow. And I was like, oh my god, is she just like an actual genius? Like, what is going on right now? You were like 5 minutes behind Biggie because of me, by the way, and you still won. I don't know how that happened.
Wait, when Kim did her little J for Jesus, what were you like, no way? Or were you like, maybe?
So, okay, that whole game was like not what I thought it was going to be. I was trying to solve the riddle. It was really like a needle in the haystack. Like you're trying to find like the one that's different. So I was like, okay, Kim, we got to look for something that's not one of the ones we tried already. And she's like, oh, Jesus. And I was like, what are you talking about? And then she just put it in, and I didn't even see what it was. I was like, what did you just put in the bucket? I was like,
J for Jesus. And Kim, yes.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. Wait, I wanna pull back a little bit before we get into any of the challenges. Very first thing you're seen as saying on the show, I believe, is some people mistake me as that guy from Dune.
Let's talk about
unpack that.
about Timmy Chalamet.
Okay. Yeah, let's
talk
talk
about Timmy.
Let's talk about this. Let's unpack this, because I was taken out of context. Okay, I was telling a story. I got asked specifically. So when I began hold on, I gotta sit up.
Sit up. This is serious.
When I was getting interviewed for this show, I was living in Vietnam, and they were asking me about like my time living in Vietnam, and they were asking about like cultural experiences I had, and I told them that something I had to get used to was getting compared to every like white male celebrity that exists.
And that happens in all of these countries.
Right, it's not just me too. It's just like any white guy that goes over there, it's probably going to happen to them at some point. I had a friend that totally looked like Wolverine. That guy did not look like Wolverine at all. So I would get told by some guys I play basketball with that I look like Jack Harlow. I got told I look like Spider-Man by my students, just like any white guy they could think of. And Dune Part 2 came out while I was living in Vietnam. So I was telling a story about how when I was living there, I got told I look like the guy from Dune all the time. But they cut out that part, so it looks like I just said that out of pocket.
This was his Megan Fox Love is Blind moment or whatever. Let's maybe even put a little picture of Timothée Chalamet right here. Right next to Jonah.
They're
You
both
let
white.
us know what you think. They are both white.
They're both white.
And you know what, though? I believe you because I was in Peru. I was with a guy. Everyone kept calling him Kanye. He looks absolutely nothing like Kanye. He's, 6'2". The one common thing he had with Kanye was that he was black. And everyone was like, Kanye. I'm like, this is not Kanye. Like, I am not traveling Peru with my friend Kanye West. Like, what? So I do 100% believe you, and I think that that's really funny. And I think Timothée Chalamet is a great-looking guy. I think you're a great-looking guy. So either way, it's a good thing. It
works out. It works out. It's fine.
It works out. I don't know if I would call you guys twins.
We don't look alike at all. That's why I'm so like, wow, I can't believe anyone would think I would say that. Especially in that first footage. We could not look any more different.
There's one thing that you want to know about Jonah. He looks like Timothée Chalamet. That's how it was
That's
presented.
the only thing. All right, but just promise that for Halloween you'll be Willy Wonka.
Sure, I can do that.
Perfect. I have another thing that I want to talk about. Books and nerd things. I feel like we really bonded over all the books and nerd things. That you had anime tattoos, and I noticed that pretty quickly. I don't have as much anime watching experience probably as you. I'm like Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, a little bit of One Piece. But we were able to talk about that, and we both had recently read Red Rising.
Yeah.
You were telling me a lot about Brandon Sanderson, and yeah, that was really cool. And I wish that was more on the show, although I guess I don't because it wasn't really relevant to anything that was going on. But we immediately bonded over that on the bus. Was there anything else with other people that you bonded over at all?
I remember having a conversation with, I think it was me, Rick, and Shane were talking about movies for a while. But you know me, I was kind of quiet for a lot of time on the bus. But if you got me going on something, that's how it is in real life. I don't really talk very much until someone mentions something that I'm interested in, and then I will not shut the fuck up. And I'm a little too much at that point. I've had to learn how to rein it back actually, and be like, okay, maybe I'm talking too much, and everyone else is getting annoyed with me.
Don't rein it back. It's who you are. Don't rein it back. Don't rein it back.
I'll say as an outsider who I read some books, but not in the same genre as these guys. But I did read Red Rising recently. Incredible book. But
Really great
watching Jonah and Allie light up about things that I had no idea about was so beautiful. It was so cool. Just you guys were so passionate about, and it was like you guys were speaking another language. I had no idea what you guys were talking about.
I vividly remember telling. Oh, sorry.
I was saying it was.
I'm getting passionate again.
It was really beautiful. And I remember talking about that with other people being like, oh my gosh, I would kill to be passionate about something. That's so cool. You guys love this. It was awesome to watch.
Yeah, I remember vividly this one conversation we had about, it was when you were having a little bit more anxiety, and I think you were motion sick that day, and it was just not a good day for everybody. I feel like that was our 14-hour travel day. Yeah. And I remember saying look, be the Darrow of the story. So if you've read Red Rising, you get it. Darrow is this anti-hero, super cool, relatable protagonist, and you got to write your own story. And even now that your portion of the show is done, you get to write the rest of your life. And I think that that's really cool. And when I thought about that on the bus, even for myself, it was kind of what do I want my story to be? I didn't want my story to be targeting Jonah to get out of the game. I did want my story to be sweet and nice, but apparently you don't always get to write your story. But we'll talk about that later. So I thought that was a really, you can write your story, you viewers at home. You can be the Darrow, like Jonah was the Darrow. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We barely talked about the first challenge because whatever, but Roman Gladiator thumbs up. You got that. I would not have known what that was, and you figured out every Rome clue. How did you know those things? And yeah, what was going through your head?
I don't know. That's a really. Honestly, I was a little shocked that I got all of them. Honestly, I didn't even know I got them right until I was watching the show. I was like, damn, I kind of nailed it. I had no idea.
I was so impressed.
Well, so the thumbs down one, I'm kind of a Roman history nerd in some ways, and so I was like, well, okay, I recognize that. I was pretty confident about that one. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle weapons, I thought I was crazy. I was like, there's no way this is actually what it is.
I thought you were crazy.
I thought I was going to get mad.
I heard you guys talking about it, and I was like, they're going to lose.
You were talking about that, and I was like, we're done.
Yeah.
Someone told me that you guys thought Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because the creator was from Milan, not because it was like Italian names of painters.
If I remember correctly, so I knew Christopher Columbus was from Italy, and that he had been hired by the Spanish government. I think Rick had said something about the symbol being maybe AC Milan, and I was like, well, was Christopher Columbus from Milan? Like, I just don't know. That was, I think maybe the wires got crossed there somewhere. But the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one, I was just bullshitting at that point. I was like, I don't really know. I know they carry these weapons around, and they're named after Italian people, so like maybe. And I was right.
That's actually insane that was a clue. I wonder who came up with that.
I remember doing a confessional about that, and specifically being like, my team has no idea what's going on. Like, we're talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like,
And that being right is mind-blowing.
Honestly, one of my highlights, I thought I was crazy, and I wasn't. I was a genius.
Honestly, you were.
uh-huh.
Do you want to kick off with something for him, or I don't want? I keep asking. I'm like question.
I don't have much about the first episode.
Okay, sweet. I'm gonna keep running through. So, I'm already on the second episode. Well, okay, no, I'll skip around. I have a burning question. Did you know how to track the sun, or did I teach you?
I'm pretty sure you taught. Okay, I couldn't remember where it rose and set.
Okay. Because we've been talking, and we talked with Biggie, and they
Yeah.
were like, you told Jonah about how to track the sun. You shouldn't have taught Jonah how to track the sun.
And no offense.
And I was like, well, I thought it was me, but I needed confirmation that it was me, that I told you it rises in the east and sets in the west.
It was either you or Rick. I think we were sitting. I can't remember the context, but I remember someone mentioned it, and I was like trying to look outside. And I was like, wait, which direction does it set? I was like,
I'm like pretty sure it was me.
Yeah, it was.
I think Kim was there too, next to us, and she probably equally was like, Allie. But I was like, Jonah, the sun rises in the east, it sets in the west. Think about north, south, east, and west.
Honestly, that information didn't help me at all because I didn't know where we were in the first place. I was like, okay, we're going south. Where were we before? What does that even mean?
South
Like,
what? Yeah.
I know, all of y'all who thought that we were in Milan, I mean, do you think that threw you guys off at all? Or did you finally figure out it was Rome?
I had it in my head that we were. I mean, the whole group was like, okay, we might be in Milan, but I was thinking of the clues that night, and I was like, I probably would have switched my answer to Rome if I had gone in there. But I wasn't thinking about it too much because I was like, I'm safe. I don't need to. I don't need to
doesn't
overthink
matter.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I jump to second episode?
Yeah,
because
I'm
that's
down
like
for second
Jonah's episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Episode 2 is Jonah's episode. That's what I'm. Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is. You get a lot of screen time. This is like your moment. I feel like they showed alliances forming in episode 2. Do you wish that you had formed more alliances, and like what were your alliances? Are there things we didn't know about with your alliances? Or was it just like, dang, this social game sucks?
Yeah, I mean, I had it in my head, like, I need to start figuring out, like, who I want to go further with. I didn't really have necessarily an alliance in mind. I know you and me were getting pretty close, so I was like, well, I guess that's potentially where the direction I might go. And if I had made it further, like, absolutely, I would have had your back. I would have tried really hard to, at that point, I think it was like a breaking point for me. Either I was going to find my spot in the game or I wasn't. But up until that point, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And like, I don't know exactly who to trust. I don't know how to play this game as myself. I don't know how to do it without hurting someone, which was really tough. It was a hard thing to be juggling.
It is really tough, and I say this from experience because, and I know we talked about this earlier, but people at home, I was not targeting this sweet little man. I loved Jonah, and I definitely would have allianced with you. I think you know that. But in this episode 2, I mean, it was life or death for me because I was going to the map room, and I knew it was Geneva. I told Ty that it was Geneva, and we knew that Jonah thought that it was Germany. So at this point, I'm thinking in my head, okay, we got to give Jonah a fighting chance. Let's tell him it's Switzerland. I can't tell him Geneva because what if I accidentally went home and Mac and Rachel put Geneva? So I told Rachel, Mac, and Jonah burn. And Mac can back me up because in this episode, she talks about thinking it's Geneva, but then puts burn, and that's never explained.
And it's so confusing because all you hear me talking about is Germany. Jonah and I also talked about Germany quite a bit because we were like, we got to be close to the border. Turns out we weren't. But we both thought that. And then I'm thinking, then I eventually am like, okay, the fountain, it's got to be Geneva. But then Allie and Ty have this big conversation with me and Rachel, mostly led by Allie. And they're like, it's burn, it's burn, it's burn. And I'm like, there's no way it's burn. But all the girls are going burn. So I don't want to be another Josh and go Milan.
My reasons were pretty funny too.
The reasons were ridiculous. And I remember in this conversation, side conversationing with Rachel being like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. But like, if the girls are doing it, I'm on team girls. Turns out I wasn't.
The thing is, that's not shown. So it really does look like I was just targeting Jonah, and that's not the case. I wanted you to have a fighting chance. I knew if you put Germany, you were gone. I had seen the Swiss flag on the helicopter. Yeah. I had seen Jennifer Aniston and Eva Longoria. Yeah. Right in my face. So I knew where we were, and yeah, that really sucked. So yeah, if you say something wrong or you align with the wrong person, you say the wrong thing, like, it does hurt people.
Yeah, that brings up two questions to mind that I didn't particularly write down, but something that you mentioned earlier, and I want you to have the opportunity to clear the air on this. Allie just said she saw, keyword being saw, Eva Longoria and Jennifer Aniston. What did you see when you walked into the room with Jeffrey?
I didn't see shit, okay? So you can see me on the bus, and during an earlier shot, I'm wearing glasses, okay? And you can see in some of those shots, my eyes are kind of red. It's because I was wearing contacts the whole time, and I had like an allergic reaction to something. So I had to wear my glasses, and before we went into the cabin, they took my glasses away from me.
That should be illegal.
So I walked in there, and I couldn't see fucking anything. You can kind of see it when I walk up the stairs. I'm like, where am I supposed to go sit down? Like,
where's Chip when this thing goes on? Where is the legal guy saying, hey, this guy needs to be able to see? Where is the lawyer?
So all the clues that were in that cabin, I was getting like secondhand from other people being like, there was a picture of Jennifer Aniston, and I think someone said Eva Longoria. I was like, who the fuck is that?
I think people were saying Eva Mendes for a while too.
Yeah, so I didn't know. And then I never saw, like, there was like a Swiss Army knife. There was the Lakers. I was like, I couldn't see anything. So I was just going off of what people told me, which I think was definitely a handicap. But even with all the clues that apparently I just was never going to figure out the Geneva thing. That's not the way my brain works. I was just never going to get that.
But you
it's
still,
the way my brain works.
even with no vision, you still got, was it 8 bells correct? 8 out of 10?
I think it was, 7 or 8 of them. Yeah.
What was because you were the only person who went in there solo who had to do bells. The rest of us could rely on other people. And I don't know what y'all's strategy was specifically, but like, you were at least split up 5 bells. We split up 3 and 4 bells.
Ty memorized 5, and then I memorized 5.
We did 3, 3, 4. You had all 10. Did you have any sort of strategy, or were you just kind of? Yeah, I guess, did you have any strategy?
Yeah, I just was doing like repetition. I would he rang one, and I said it in my head, and then he said it. So it was like cow fountain, whatever, grass, cow fountain, grass, and I would just keep repeating it. And then as soon as he ended, I was muttering to myself under my breath, and you can kind of hear me a little bit during it. And then I for some reason, it just snapped in my brain around 8, and I was like, oh shit, I don't remember what it is now. And I just rang a random one, and I was wrong, which I'm kind of glad I was wrong, because I would have had to move someone else's name, which would have been, I don't know what the fuck I would have done.
It would have been hard.
Did you at any point, because you put me in the map room, did you at any point consider not putting anybody in the map room and just truly consider just falling on the sword and keeping yourself in there genuinely?
I mean, as soon as I kind of knew what it was, I was praying to God that my name wasn't in the map room when I went in there, because I was like, I kind of have to, right? Like, I can't leave myself in there. But the thought crossed my mind, like, I am going to feel like such a dick if the person that goes home is the person I put in there. And so, like, it was there, but I was never seriously considering doing that. But like the idea was in my head, like, wow, I'd feel a lot better if I didn't have to do this.
Yeah.
Kind of on that same topic, something Allie and I talked about in another episode. Be so serious. If you saw Rick drop his sausage, Would you have
pick
let
up
him
the
know?
sausage?
I like to believe that I would have picked it up for myself, but I think on instinct, I immediately would have been like, dude, you dropped your thing. Because that's just like like, that's how I am with like
We were
anything.
right.
Called it.
Nailed it.
That's just like my gut. Like, I don't think I would have even thought about it. It would have just been like, oh, dude, like.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.